Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. Here we have a sponsor for you today. You know who it is? Haven Cottage Investment, my only sponsor. You know, if I had other sponsors, I'd talk about other things, but we can't ignore how awesome Haven Cottage Investment is, all right? If you are in Texas, okay, and you're looking to buy property, if you're looking to sell property, if you're looking to rent something, if you're looking to lease something out, all right, anything and everything related to property and real estate, contact Haven Cottage Investments, okay? These people are the bee's knees, all right? They know everything about anything. They know what they're doing. They can provide advice. They can help you out. Literally, this is the best way to sell or buy or lease or rent or anything, okay? If you're just curious, look, I'm young and I just moved out, all right? Haven Cottage Investment helped me find an apartment complex, okay? This is a good idea, all right? If you're young, if you're old, if you're super old, if you're super old, doesn't matter the age group, all right? Give Haven Cottage Investments a chance, all right? All the information is down below in the description, email, phone number, whatever it is. And if you mention the podcast, all right, in Texas, you get half off the commission rate. All right, again, Haven Cottage Investments. And without further ado, here's the show.
One More Podcast.
All right, anyways, welcome back to the One More Podcast. We are with special people, as always. We have a man on my right, and what is his name?
Blake.
And we have a man on my catty corner. What is his name?
Sam.
There it is. All right, so we got a special treat for everyone. We did a double feature. I'm like tired as all hell, and that's okay because it was totally worth it. And it's only like
midnight. That's nothing.
Yeah,
Come
nothing.
on,
You're right. But yeah, so we did double feature, and what do we see? We saw The Room, and then we saw Disaster Artist, which honestly, before getting into anything about Disaster Artist, I love James Franco. Like James Franco, Seth Rogen movies, just those pair are just amazing.
I don't think they've had a misstep yet.
Exactly. Like probably within the past 5 to 6 years, every movie that they came out with, I think has just been solid. I don't think they've had a bad movie.
No.
So, but yeah. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump into The Room. Let's get a basis of. Let's make sure everyone understands what the heck this movie is. Like, what? Sam, you got a grim. What is this movie?
I mean, it's really hard to describe, but the way I've most commonly heard it is the Citizen Kane of bad movies. As far as so bad that it's good movies.
Yeah.
Just the best ones to just have a romp and a riot and just crack up at with your buddies.
Okay.
But I feel like just calling it the best worst movie of all time doesn't quite do it justice for everything that is in The Room.
Sure.
Because I think it really separates itself from like a Sharknado type of movie because there's like I've said before, there's little hints of brilliance in there. Like there's knowledge in there.
Yeah.
It's just used terribly. It's a pretty basic story. Love triangle. It's got Johnny, true American hero, his future wife Lisa, and his best buddy Mark. And it's a little love triangle. Lisa is a tramp and betrays him. And yeah, it's a very human character piece that really
It's a character study.
Right. It is, but it's funny because just everything is horrible about the movie. At this point, if you don't know anything about The Room, then you haven't been on internet lately because I've seen it a lot these last few weeks.
Very
leading
true.
Up
Building
to
up
Disaster
to
Artist.
the
Right.
Disaster Artist for sure.
So yeah, just go check it out or watch. Like there was a great Honest trailer about it that just got released like 2 weeks ago on Screen Junkies. So go check that out. If you don't know anything about it, because it's a masterpiece.
It is very much so. I definitely agree with the little nuggets of realism and stuff like that. I felt like, and it was so difficult because we'll get into it in a second. But the acting threw it for me. But I mean, obviously, definitely the human traits and the human emotions and stuff that they were trying to express.
Right.
I was like, oh, I get that. I understand that. I can vibe with that. But oh my gosh, it was
like on one hand, it's funny how in like there'll be there's four scenes where her and her mom are having the exact same conversation about about, well, I don't love him anymore. She's like, but he's your financial security. Normally movies fast track conversations because we only got an hour and a half before fucking Les Mis lets out next door.
Yep.
Like we gotta get shit going. We don't have time for all the plot. So I think there's something bold about being like, no, we're gonna be real conversations. People discuss things over multiple times. You don't hash everything out real quick.
That's true.
However, with a bold choice has to come a bold strategy, and I don't think that was here in that regard. But
well, go ahead, Blake. Were you gonna say something?
The way that I heard it described was my sister's future husband described it as if aliens were to watch like Earth in 2003. Like that, if aliens were to make a movie about humans in 2003,
right,
and
That's
they
what
knew
it
nothing about movies, this is what they would come up with. Something
Right, yeah.
simple and just so ridiculous
Yeah.
on all fronts.
right.
But again, I was telling Sam this as we were walking out of the movie theater, watching The Room. Like, even before I watched The Disaster Artist, watching The Room the second time gave me a whole new perspective on Tommy Wiseau.
Really?
Yeah, it did. Because I was
Right.
explaining this to my dad before I came over. He was like, so this is basically the shittiest movie of all time, and this guy shouldn't be making movies ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, hold on.
It's like, no, we want as much content from him as possible.
And I told him, look, this is I got to respect the hell out of this guy because he went out and did something that nobody can say that they've done except for directors in Hollywood. Like, none of us can say that we've directed a movie before.
True.
This dude had a vision. He didn't give a damn what
Right.
anybody else thought. He wanted to do his own thing.
right.
And that deserves my respect.
Right.
Like, it's
I think-
to a big level.
100%. I think there's something that's interesting because while you're right that like he didn't let all of the deniers and everything stop him.
No.
It's like I think he did care very deeply about what other people thought, and I think you're still right. I'm not saying you're wrong at all, but it's often the people who care the most deeply about what others think that project the actions and the image that they don't care what people think. And so in action, it's like fake it till you make it. So
Yeah.
it's like he really didn't. You see obviously when he released his movie and people are laughing at it, that it does deeply affect him because this is like he said he was bearing
For a
his
minute.
soul, but
For a minute.
right. But it's like we learn like I'm gonna say like so many times and I just get prepared. It's I don't know, like you said, if you just continue to act like you don't give a F and you just persevere like it doesn't matter, then eventually it won't.
Yeah,
I think a
but
good message from this.
I think, but you can look at Tommy from The Disaster Artist or James Franco's version of
Right.
Tommy, where he would act and try to be an amazing actor.
Mhm.
Didn't give a shit.
Right.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Right.
And this acting director is wrong.
He's
He
like,
doesn't
he's
know
like,
what
I
he's
know
talking
better.
about.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna stand up in the middle of a diner and read
Right.
Shakespeare, and I don't give one damn what anybody else thinks. They're not movie stars.
I
I'm
think
gonna
you're
be
right.
a movie star.
I think that and he was motivated by the fact that he was so confident
Oh yeah.
that it was going to be a good movie. That's true. Actually, I guess he didn't really have an apparent care for what people thought until it was the movie was released because he's motivated by you'll
Wanting to be
you'll
famous.
see when my movie comes out it'll be good that you were wrong. But then it comes out and it's like, fuck, what if these people were right all along? And that's God, that was a hard moment to watch.
Oh yeah.
And it was so perfect because right at the premiere when it was happening, it showed like some of the
You
biggest.
want to wait for
Oh
that?
no, you're good. I was just gonna say real quick. We're at the end of the movie, so we're talking about The Disaster Artist now. So we've just real quick before Sam, you can continue your thought. I was just gonna say real quick. The whole premise of The Disaster Artist was kind of a documentary style, sort of. Well, not necessarily documentary with the cut to interviews, but it was definitely a analysis / story of Tommy Wiseau going from nothing and trying to create something. So just to kind
Right.
of bridge that gap, I don't
Yeah,
people
because
have-
it's based off the book written by Greg Sestero, who was the other
Mark.
lead. Yeah, he played Mark in the movie. He was the other male lead. And so it's really, it's about Tommy and this enigma of a person that is so mysterious and so fascinating. And his relationship with this, just could have been any random actor that was, you know, an insecure guy just working an acting class, and he happened to show some sympathy and admiration for Tommy, and that just turned into, you know, an awesome friendship.
Yeah. So, but you can continue your thought. What you're saying at the very end.
I was just gonna say, at the scene that, you know, it's not like a spoiler because you know it's coming when this movie gets released and people laugh at it. When it started off, it was showing all of these like super famous scenes from The Room. So it's like, and they were so well reenacted that you fall right in with the people. You're like, oh my God, this is so funny. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. And then it cuts to him and he's crying. And I felt just as guilty as all those people in the theater because I was one of them. You know, I was like, oh yeah, like this was his like emotion, you know, like it's all fun to laugh at him, but you remember this is a real person.
Yeah, this was his baby. This was his biggest dream, and people are, for a second, were shitting all over it.
Right. And even if it's oh no, I lost it. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So one point I was going to make, so obviously you have Tommy as an actor, and you have him as a director, and you have his passion, his story that he wants to tell.
And as a producer and as a writer.
And a producer and a writer and whatever other credits he wants to give himself. But I one thing that kind of came to my mind is, would this have gotten a different reaction if everyone was kind of Eastern European? And it wasn't just American accents, you know, because you could, and Sam, you've definitely made the point while we were watching The Room, it's definitely Tommy speaking all these people's lines, or a lot of these scenes where you're like, can't you just imagine that's Tommy talking?
Yes. I think there's so much to unbox as far as Tommy clearly speaking through these people when he wrote these lines for them. I think there's so much of a view inside of his head from how he has these characters act towards and about him in his character in the movie. Just things as far as how they talk about him when he's not around, either being extremely admirable, as far as like, no, he's a good man. He really cares about you. You know, Denny, he's like a father to you. You know, he doesn't say he loves you, but he means it. Yeah. You know, and then at the same time, being like, I hate him. He's so dumb. Like, you really see Tommy Wiseau's paranoia for, you know, this is how he thinks his life is, and this is how he thinks people talk about him behind his back. You know, and there's just, I don't know, there's a lot of examples about that. Like, why are you so hysterical? Like, whenever him and Mark are getting into it near the end of The Room, when he's finding out that Lisa had been cheating on him with Mark, and Mark says something like, well, maybe if you kept your girl satisfied, she wouldn't have to come run into someone like me. You know, it's like,
that's like a legitimate.
Yes, these are the things that he's thinking. Like, well, this is why women go to other guys like him and not me. You know, like stuff like that, where you see his self-consciousness projected onto people, and it's so interesting. And it makes him so transparent and so like relatable. It just does, because like everyone's scared of that shit.
Being a vulnerable human.
Right.
So was this a genius work of art, or was it a piece of shit film?
Or both.
I think you could look at Jackson Pollock and say it was a piece of shit. I think you could. You know, you might be wrong. Objectively, but I think you could look at anything and say it's a piece of shit, and anything and say it's brilliant. Sure. In a way, I guess, if you could make an argument for it, right? So, but I think it's brilliant in a way, and also one of the biggest disasters of all time.
Well, okay, so I think definitely surface level. Just watching the movie as just a movie, sure. I don't think it's the greatest. Atrocious. I think that there are worse movies out there. Right. Like
which ones?
Nut Job 2. I think it's got like
an animated movie.
Yes.
No, fucking. It was one of the like. There was the original like Dawn of the Dead George Romero ones, and then they tried to like reboot the series not too long ago.
2004, Zack Snyder's.
Right. So I didn't mind the first Dawn of the Dead. I don't think it might have been Land of the Dead, not Day of the Dead.
Yeah, with John Leguizamo.
I don't even remember, dude. It was the one where they like those zombies walked under the water and like walked up to the island together.
Yeah, the zombies had brains. And
it was atrocious.
Like, talk to each other.
Yeah. Yes. And they were like teaching each other how to use guns. That movie was worse than The Room to me.
So definitely surface level comparing that. It's not great. It's not super horrible. But, you know, I think now that we've seen The Disaster Artist and we've kind of talked about Tommy Wiseau as a person, you know, I think this is a great self-expression movie for you know, showing the true emotions of humans, not necessarily, you know, written well, because again, he's apparently from Louisiana, or what is it?
New Orleans. He's from New Orleans.
Yeah. From New Orleans, but you know,
he's also claimed before in interviews that he spent some time living in Italy and some time in France. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that part. But yeah, so I definitely.
But he says he wasn't born in either.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
In the book, what's his name, Rick, the guy who plays Mark. A guy did some searching, and that guy that was talking to Rick thinks that
Greg.
he was born in Poland. Greg, it's Greg. Oh, okay,
Thinks he was born in Poland.
Born in Poland.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Eastern Europe. But the weirdest thing about Tommy is not where he's from. It's where does he get all that money?
Well, and
I'm fascinated by that.
And it's not even that, like, it's not so much fascinating to me where he's from specifically as to why it's such a big secret. You know,
He's a private guy.
Right. But past being a private guy, I don't know. To me, the mystery is like, there's a mystery there. You know, there's something, there's a reason that he has this $6 million. And I'm
more than that.
Right.
There's the banker said a bottomless pit.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, he's claimed before that he got it from, you know, selling jackets or selling Levi's or whatever, freaking Korean yo-yos. Like, but I don't take that as, I don't think that's it. You know, there's something else there. There's a reason he's like, don't ask questions about me. Don't talk about me. Like, that's weird.
That's what I'm saying. That's the most fascinating thing about him is how did he accumulate all of this wealth where he could just produce his own movie and rent and keep an apartment in Los Angeles and San Francisco for Lord knows how long. And now with The Room being a huge hit now, like the dude, even more so than he was already, before. Yeah. If he ever had financial problems, this is not a big deal anymore.
So I want to take it back a sec to talk about the most important thing, I think, in The Room and even in The Disaster Artist is the way too many amounts of sex scenes. So what do you think that let's take this like really stupid concept in this movie and really drill into it. And why are there so many sex scenes?
I think that Tommy was trying to take an amalgamation of a lot of different types of movies. Like he was trying to make a really intense drama, but he wanted to also have some funny parts and relatable parts. And he also wanted to be edgy, like show his ass in the movie. You know, it's like, and so I think that was just a conclusion that he came to that was like, no, like sex sells. You know, that's one of the most common phrases in any type of marketing. Like,
True.
And so I can definitely see someone like him thinking he's logically coming to that conclusion. Like, no, we just have 4 sex scenes and then people like more sex. You know, like I can just definitely see that happening.
There were 4? First one with Johnny,
like within
first
5 minutes,
Mark, and then Mark and her on the stairs, and then you can count the friends with the blowjob, and then her and Johnny when they're drunk, and then her and Mark again when they get caught.
Yeah, but that wasn't. The music wasn't playing.
There was no R&B.
There has to be music.
No R&B.
So
all right, fine.
there were
4 or 5.
4, right? Okay, 4.
So I mean, I also think it's
bananas.
It is. By the way, the first sex scene happens within the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, literally, it's like
bam.
Yeah,
it jumps right into it.
Yeah,
Tommy Wiseau's ass.
Lisa comes in. He gives her the dress. She tries it on. Denny shows up. They go upstairs. Denny leaves.
Bam.
So, speaking of Denny, do you think he was a real person? Like, I know in the Disaster Artist, they were
definitely an android.
Well, okay, no, I mean,
like in Tommy Wiseau's life.
Yeah,
you think a kid that wanted to watch? I'm sure there are people out there like that. I don't
like just like a little perverted kid.
My theory?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Tommy was Denny.
Oh, you think so?
That's my big conspiracy theory, bro. I think Tommy was Denny.
Okay.
Right? So I think Tommy, there was a part where in the Disaster Artist, did I write down the line? It was, oh yeah. When Greg said something about, the movie that inspired me to act was Home Alone.
Yeah.
And Tommy says, I was Home Alone too. You know, just not a movie,
okay.
right? And Denny is an orphan in the story,
mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, wow.
So, and Denny knew Johnny, right? And then Johnny was like a father to him, you know. And so for Lisa to be saying to him, you know, Johnny's like a father to you. You know, he loves you, but he doesn't really say it. You know, if I was a young kid,
that's true.
You know, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, oh no, like I knew he always loved me. He just didn't really say it much. You know, he was kind of a father figure to me. And that's what I think where all this started.
Ooh, that's really smart.
Right. I think that's what it was. And I think this guy, Johnny, you know, that's why his job is so vague. He's like, oh, I'm a banker. I saved him loads of money. Like, you know, what if he did have like a really close relationship with these people? What if it actually even happened where this dude killed himself and then left the money to Denny, who became Tommy Wiseau, who came over to fucking America and was like, don't talk about my past. Don't ask why I got money.
Wow, that's really okay.
Dude,
I didn't
that's
even
my
connect
theory,
those
bro.
dots there. I didn't even connect those dots there.
That's what I think it is.
Because it was very vague. Like it was whenever he talked about work, it was just very limited. That was it.
Them
Check this
bundles.
out. According to Sestero, Wiseau described being wrongfully arrested following a drug raid at a youth hostel and being traumatized by his mistreatment by the French police.
Bro,
What happened to Denny? He owed
Tommy
money
is Denny
for
fucking
drugs.
confirmed.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Dang. Okay. Wow. Now we just broke the case. We cracked it.
And so then what you see in this movie is Tommy playing, this guy that he idolized. Then if this is true, then this guy, whoever Tommy or whoever Johnny was,
very successful banker,
right? And he's super cool and he's super wise. He's these cool little phrases like, "If everybody loved each other, the world would be a better place." Or he's like, two's company, but three's a crowd.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I get it. You want me to leave?" And he's like, "That's the idea." It's like he's so cool and everyone loves Johnny and he's such a good guy. Like that's how I see it. And so you see this combination of him projecting like what I think was his past through Denny. And then also, when he's playing this character, you get the lines talking about him that are still the self-conscious projection about how he wants people to see him. If
True.
not because he had this figure so much like that he wants to become.
So then, following the theory, do you think then the Lisa? Do you think that was just added to be a dramatic movie element where she falls out of love, or do you
I
think...
bet Tommy got his heart broken like that.
Right?
think
Yeah.
so?
It could have. Yeah. Probably.
Okay. So then, I mean, to pull it back, then
I mean, Tommy Wiseau apparently in real life does have a lot of money. I'm
Sure.
sure he would give a girl
Surely.
anything just for her to stay
Right.
around.
Right. And I'm, if not certain, that at some point, like him and someone like Greg, one of his friends in the past,
Probably fucked him
both
over.
met a girl and Tommy was in love with her. Maybe she wasn't as involved with Tommy as it seemed in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that was more in his head. And then she decided to go with his friend. He was like, "You guys both betrayed me."
Yeah.
And so this is him projecting that in the movie form. I don't know if necessarily he was dating a girl that cheated on him like that with his friend. Because, I don't know, that just seems like almost too real of a human relationship for him to be in, with two regular people, I guess.
Well, and I mean, even then, like we said with the whole sex scenes and stuff like that, he's trying to make this huge, just this everything, like all corners of every genre.
Right.
He's blowing it up. So, sure, maybe it might not have been as intense in real life, but he's doing it for the movie. So I do think, circling back, I think this is a great self-expression movie. I think this is a great, all of the emotions, the connections, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think it was all spot on now.
But technically, it's not. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like in terms of shots and camera angles and
He's
Oh,
one
well,
of the things I
horrible.
wrote
That's what I'm
down-
saying. The technical process of this movie.
I mean, he's Eastern
Right.
European, so what do
Is-
you want?
So was
That's
Roman Polanski.
racist. Hey, that's
Just kidding.
racist. None of that.
My bad, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
that
One of the things
Nationalist, I guess.
you
I don't know.
are you're stereotyping people.
Stereotyping.
Eastern European.
They're
I'm just,
bad
I'm
film
just
artists.
bullshitting.
You're right.
No, I wrote down though. I think that Tommy Wiseau is aware of how to tell a good story. Like I think he studied. I think he read the books and everything. It's like he knows the factors necessary. Like when it's like at the end of the room, whenever Tommy suddenly announces that Lisa's pregnant.
Yep.
Which could have been a valuable tool if introduced way earlier on in the movie. Then that could have been a nice twist at the end. That's like that
if he
wasn't
heard it
true
through
either.
the phone recorder or
Right,
whatever.
right,
Her talking to her
exactly.
mom or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when they asked Lisa about it, they're like, "Why did you lie about that?" She literally says, "I don't know, to make it interesting." So he's aware. He's aware of what to do, just not how to do it.
Yeah.
I guess. And
True.
I think that goes for a lot of things. Like the scene with Denny and Chris R. That was supposed to be like an emotional center moment for Denny and coming together with Johnny and them being so concerned about him.
Right.
But he just didn't know how to do it. He knew what he needed to do, just not how to get there.
True. I was gonna say,
Maybe if you were to split this movie up into like a HBO like short series with like 5 or 6 episodes,
yeah.
and you just expand on like
Yeah, dead ass.
if you expand like the part where you set up the characters of Mark, Lisa, and Johnny. Next episode, you add in Denny and the drug thing, so you
Right.
add the plot even more. And
Right.
then you add
So-
the
yeah,
mom.
see,
Like,
that's-
if it
So
was
again, just
spread
like
out,
a high school soap opera.
No,
Is
but
this what we're trying to make?
I talked to my buddy about this the other day. I was like, I think it would be on one hand, and this was my initial thought. This is not my conclusion. Just before you freak out. On one hand, I wanted to say it would be so cool if someone took like this exact same script and idea and shot it as a good movie. You know, like how cool would that be if someone with real experience shot it and it was the same lines literally and it was like, this is what it could have been. So on one hand, I think that'd be so amazing. But on the other hand, it's like, that's like being like, well, what if we remade Star Wars Episode 4 with new actors and had better special effects? You know, it's like, it's just, no, it's amazing for what it is. And while things could have been better or different, you gotta just let it lie. Like you can't trace over fucking Mona Lisa and try to add stuff that you think would be better. You know, it's its own entity at this point.
So, following off with the not knowing how to execute it properly. Same thing with the sound and the camera angles and stuff like that.
And the cancer.
Well, that's true. That one plot element
that could have been an ongoing storyline.
Yeah,
that added stress to their lives.
Lisa's getting more stressed out because her mom has cancer,
right.
But the last thing her mom wants to see is Lisa happy and successful with a nice married man before she dies. That's added pressure to her trying to stay with Johnny while Mark is still in the picture. I think it could have been so much better.
Dude, I keep thinking it's a soap opera, man. I mean, like the Spanish soap operas, like the Spanish soap operas.
That's because soap operas are based around very simple human plot lines.
Exactly. And same thing with this movie.
Right.
But you were going to say something, Sam?
No, this is kind of
go through your list, man. You wrote a bunch of notes.
I did write a lot of stuff. I was saying back to what you were saying earlier about how like this is like if aliens made a movie about people and didn't know, like, you know, maybe they'd seen a few movies, so they're like, we need to have cancer twist, you know. But like, I don't know why they're robots now, but
robot aliens.
It's like good. It's kind of Tommy Wiseau doing that too, because he clearly understands people to some degree, but not nearly as well as he thinks he does. Right? Like whenever him and Mark, when Mark got pissed off on the roof, he started like throwing chairs around, and same with Tommy in the fucking famous awesome scene where he's walking around smashing everything in his fucking apartment.
True.
It's like he's like, okay, what does someone do when they're angry? Oh, they get mad and they smash, they express themselves, you know.
Human
it's like
emotion.
Right, exactly. It's like him just being like, this is how people act, this is real human emotion.
Do you think Tommy Wiseau has Asperger's? Not I don't want to like delve super far into it, but definitely some kind of, because I mean
I don't want to
overanalyze Eastern European.
Right. I don't want
that's racist.
Eastern.
I don't.
Sure.
I think it's so tricky because anytime you mention that someone isn't good with social cues, it's like, okay, well,
I'm not saying
I'm
not saying it's a definite thing, but it's, you know.
I mean, I can see it.
You're you know, taken kind of on the outside of society. You're on the outside of society, man, and what are you going to do when you're creating a film that's supposed to be an internal drama of the inside of society?
I don't know. I feel like this dude has been on the outside of society, but I don't.
Clearly.
I think it's.
You think he's just kind of weird?
There is some, and that's the problem. There is so much murky water surrounding his past that we don't know what happened to him. He may have had a traumatizing experience when he was a kid, and that makes him shut off. And
true,
he may have trust issues galore. That's why he's always paranoid about what people think. And then someone told him that he wasn't shit, so he made all this money. But then he found out that didn't make him happy, so he wanted to be an actor, and everybody loved him, kind of thing. There's so much depth that we don't know about this character that it's hard to say. We have no idea.
All right. So then, real quick, I want to touch on converting the room into the disaster artist, and trying to transition the mood and kind of the themes and the characters themselves. I think James Franco did an amazing, awesome job.
Like almost, and I don't know, I haven't seen enough Oscar movies this year, but this dude, like in terms of, so you look at biopics, and every single time there's a biopic that's not complete Oscar bait, that person is going to be, whoever plays the main character in the biopic is going to be up for an Oscar.
Really?
That's usually how it happens.
So you think James Franco could win 50. An award?
I think he should be nominated.
Okay.
Because
I definitely think he should. Oh yeah.
When you
this was my favorite movie 2017 by far.
You dive into a character as weird and abstract as Tommy Wiseau, and he transformed.
Right.
So
it was amazing to watch.
Do you think that was an easy role for him to play?
No way, dude.
Really?
No way.
Well, because I just feel,
dude. Okay, so
I bet he could relate to him.
True, but I think everyone can relate to him. When you really break it down, I think everyone can relate to everyone. You know, it's like,
sure.
I think it's I'm sure he can relate to him a lot as far as being an actor, you know,
and a writer,
right, and a director, and all
director.
that stuff. Absolutely.
Well, but
I think it's hard to get in the mind of anyone like that though. Like what I was thinking earlier when you were asking about the Asperger's is it's like I'm not educated enough to know where the line is between very high functioning Asperger's and just very eccentric. I don't know where that line is.
True.
But like I can't imagine just trying to sit down. You know, James Franco said that Tommy used to record everything. Like there was a scene in The Disaster, he's just walking around talking the plot into a tape recorder. He recorded everything.
Really?
Yeah. James Franco said he had like just hundreds of hours, like more hours than anyone could ever listen to in their life, of just Tommy talking to himself in the car on the way home. Like, let's act it to you. Don't understand me. You know,
wow,
so it's like,
awesome.
Right. So I think, and he was like, that was such a gift. Because it's you know, what better way to get in someone's head than to literally just hear them talk to the wall forever. You know, like, so.
I'll be damned.
So, right. I don't want to say it was a super hard role to play, and I don't want to say it was an easy role to play, but I think it was probably a challenging thing to have in front of you and be like, I have to bring the legend of what this guy is, because he's already larger than life.
True.
And then I got to bring that and put it on screen.
Okay.
You know, and I love how the movie, The Disaster Artist opened. First thing was just different celebrities talking about The Room and about Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau. I don't know which one's right. Either way.
Either one.
Yes.
I thought that was the best way to start the tone, because that's the only way to start with The Room is or that's how everyone first heard about it was, oh my God, no, you have to hear blah, 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 recommendation. And that was just perfect and then going straight into the first shot we get to see after that was Greg's terrified face standing there, you know? And so it was just such a great shift from it's going to become this great thing that all these people that you put your trust in, you know, very much care about. And then immediately, this is just some scared kid in an acting class. You know,
I thought that was good.
By the way, how perfect was that opening scene to show Tommy Wiseau as
so eccentric.
Yes, climbing on the wall. Yeah, dude.
Yep.
And the amazement on Greg's face, though.
Yeah.
You know, everyone else was laughing, but Greg was like, that is what I want.
Yeah.
You know, because he could barely move, barely speak when he's up there. And Tommy's like, I don't care, I'll do it. You know, like he'll flop around. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting from someone like Greg who, like in most circles, if you talk to Mark Cicero, the guy who played Greg, he would probably like be like, yeah, this fucking guy Tommy. You know, like in most situations, he would probably consider himself like socially above Tommy. But like in that moment, like he was nothing and Tommy was a god. You know, and so it's this weird level of admiration and yet at the same time, like hesitancy to fully be like, okay, you're smart, you're a brilliant genius.
Sure.
You know, and so it was just really interesting to watch that the origin of that.
So, and to kind of spin off of that, I genuinely don't believe that James Franco / Seth Rogen / whoever wrote helped write The Disaster Artist. I don't think they were trying to be too funny. I think they wrote kind of a down to earth, you know, this eccentric man, this passion, this drive, and I think I don't know, the funny parts just felt natural.
And I really liked that the whole movie didn't turn into, look how crazy Tommy Wiseau is.
Yeah.
Look how funny this guy is when he interacts with people. It wasn't that at all. You know, like you definitely, of course, you saw that because he is who he is. But it didn't always come out of a place of, what an effing idiot. You know, he was just really stubborn and he had his own like ideas.
Well, I mean, didn't Tommy Wiseau give like this movie like his blessing or something like
that?
Yeah,
he said he approved 99%.
99%.
And then like initially, James Franco was telling the story. He's like, when I first asked him about it, he was like, near the beginning, the lighting was kind of off. He was like, you were wearing sunglasses when you watched the movie. But now Tommy swears he never said that. He was like, no, that 1% is how you throw football. On that scene where they're throwing the football and it's terrible.
That's one thing I really, really liked. Like, out of books to movies to whatever sequels, reimaginings, whatever it is, I thought, and I mean, it's easier because I definitely was fresh off of just watching The Room, and then I'm able to pick up on all the cues and stuff like that. Right. But I thought there were a lot of just low key hints to the movie and
little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
right. Okay. Movie. So,
we started him off.
There was. I think I only wrote down one. There was 2 points. Oh no! So there's the scene where he sees whatever he was referencing when he did the "You're Tearing Me Apart."
Yeah,
he saw he saw that on TV, and then he also saw what was the other line? Oh, 2 people talking on a TV show, and they're like, "I've been watching you," I like to watch y'all.
Yeah.
You know, and so those are the only two that I caught that ended up being lines that made it into the movie. So I don't even know how many more there were that I didn't even notice.
Like, no, what James Franco put into the disaster artist that was in the room.
Yeah.
Right,
so like all the football shit,
Everything football,
American game. It's a great game.
Yeah.
What else was there?
I think the coffee scene or whatever. Whenever they're getting, they're definitely
trying to throw the football while they're running together.
That's true. Yeah,
And,
they had that.
I think that goes back to like Tommy Wiseau being an alien, trying to make a movie about how he thinks people do things. You know, he saw that on TV, so he's like, well, that's the epitome of human.
That's friendship. That's what friends do with each other.
They play football
together.
So
not to jump near the end of the movie though, but kind of on that, how interesting was it to see near the end of the movie when him and Greg are having their falling out?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I wrote a new part of the movie. Like, we're gonna go out in this grass field. Remember this field? This is the first spot we played football together. Like, we're just gonna throw the football, and you're gonna be vulnerable like you were then, and you're gonna tell me, you know, what's wrong with you and why you're upset. And that was such an interesting moment because it was like there was so many things happening in that moment. You know, there was Tommy's resentment of Greg or Mark's, you know, growing success as an actor, and the fact that people were continually liking him and not liking Johnny or not liking Tommy. There was like his longing for how simple it was when they were first starting off before all this extra stuff was going on.
True.
There was
the attention that Greg was giving Amber and not Tommy.
Right. And it was just kind of this epitome of Tommy like thinking that you can just create real human emotion. You know what I mean? You can't just fabricate it by doing all the things that you think someone would do. You know, same with when someone's angry, they smash stuff. You know, it's like real human emotion is real human emotion. That's why acting's so fucking hard.
I agree. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but even when they were going to that location, weren't they saying they were going back or something? It's going to be
road trip.
Yeah, road trip. He was like, just like old times.
Yeah,
just said that. Yeah,
just like old times. So, I totally agree.
Yep. Go ahead. No.
So I was just gonna say, we talked a lot about James Franco and Tommy Wiseau and the character and stuff like that. Other character. Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I know
you're
about to hop. I don't mean no, dude. This was about Tommy. I didn't want to come back to Tommy.
No. Good tangent. Do whatever. It's all good, dude.
The first time that Tommy gets in the car with Greg, or Greg gets in the car with Tommy.
Yeah.
And Tommy immediately lays down his list of rules. He's like, "Don't talk about me to anybody. Don't ask questions. You know, don't."
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, you know, what's the secret plot of why he won't do all this stuff? And then, just as dead ass serious, he says, "And don't look a robot crab." He's shy. Just some little fucking doodad on there. So it's like, and that was so perfect because it's like I felt like him in the moment. It was like, you know, wait, is there a reason for all this? What is?
Do I laugh? Like,
right? Exactly. And it's like, what is the reason for all this? Is it all as pointless as "Don't look at robot crab," or like, or is Tommy really brilliant and he's throwing that in there? You know, it's like, how does this work?
I don't even know.
And when he pulled out the keys to his apartment, he had like 40 keys on his key ring.
And he just happened
to find
straight
the one. Janitor, dude.
I really hope that was real and not just like a totally practical thing.
Bro, that has to be something that was in the book. Where he was like, he just pulled out like 50 keys.
Dude, that would be amazing. Dude, 50 keys to different apartments all over the world. That'd be pretty awesome.
I can see him just like collecting every key he's ever found in his life and being like, you have a lot of keys, open a lot of doors.
That is straight Tommy. Oh my God.
Right.
Dude, you could probably be a ghostwriter, man. But what I was...
Oh, and another thing that they did that made it into the movie was Tommy... When they couldn't find him in the apartment, Tommy was up on the roof thinking.
Yep.
And then that was in the room when they're like, "Oh, the roof's just a great place to think."
Yeah.
You know,
that was all. Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, Dave Franco. I thought he was a pretty solid.
Yeah. Let's
acting.
just talk about the cast all the way around.
Yeah, that's fine.
With Dave.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I thought
they had a lot of just comedians in this movie.
And
just like
right, Hannibal Buress.
Friggin',
no, it wasn't Eric Andre. It was the guy that plays Rafi on The League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who else? Andre
I don't know their
from
names.
The League was in there too.
Yes,
he was
They had comedians / funny actors on there, and I thought it was just a whole entire
Zac Efron, Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, this was a good cast. Like,
Well, but I don't even think it was that hard for them. They're just like, "Hey, we're doing a movie. What are you looking for?"
my phone. Don't keep going.
Oh no, you're good. Hey, we're doing a movie. You want to be in this movie called The Disaster Artist?
Right.
And I really don't think it was that hard to reel people in.
No.
Well, I mean, looking back, a lot of the James Franco, Seth Rogen movies, it's not that hard to just pull people.
No, everyone wants to. Like they're they're huge hits in Hollywood, and they're awesome dudes to just work with. I'm not surprised anybody would want to work with those guys.
True.
Like they just
Right.
seem like the kind of guys that you would want to make a movie with.
But what I was going to say for Dave Franco specifically, I thought it was kind of nice, especially probably the first half of the movie. He was definitely still that quiet, kind of like stuttering a little bit, not very confident. And by the end of the movie, this guy is yelling at Tommy Wiseau, "Where are you from, man?
Yeah.
How old are you?" Like he's just got this energy. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of nice to show that change and progression of who he is.
I think early on in the movie, he was super fascinated with Tommy's lack of regard for social norms.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And then he almost kind of adopted
right.
that persona.
He loved that Tommy just, like I said, I don't care, I'll do it. He was fascinated by the fact that Tommy didn't give a shit or appeared to not give a shit.
Yeah.
But then once that was like fully fleshed out in front of people, out in front of the real movie, he's like, there's no off switch for Tommy.
What have I done?
Right.
Kinda
He's like, I liked it when he was going against the bullshit norms, but like, I don't want him to be this weird, dude. Like, can I turn it down? Like, you can't. It's Tommy
It's
Wiseau.
Tommy.
Like,
Let him-
fuck.
I also was really, really surprised that Allison Brie was in it as the Greg's girlfriend or
Right.
whatever. I was like,
Right.
I don't know if you noticed, my face was just like, open mouth. I was like, because I love Allison Brie. She's a great actress.
Right. She's amazing. And first off, this is going to sound sexist, but we're going to have a scene of Allison Brie in the pool in a bikini and not get a single shot of cleavage.
I don't know. I thought
That was a poor creative choice on
I thought it was a
part.
perfect.
James
It was
Franco's
part.
totally
No, I'm
okay.
But no, I think the
No, you're a
relationship,
sexist pig
the relationship
racist.
between
And a horrible
Two
person.
Eastern Europeans.
the relationship between Greg and Tommy is so fascinating to me because I can't imagine what it's like to be Greg and be this guy who like was good looking dude. He had a modeling career. Like I'm sure he's probably not the worst actor. Like he probably had some good roles in some other stuff. I haven't seen him in anything, but like, and to have this just crazy guy like Tommy just swoop down out of nowhere and pretty much bring you up. He gave you all the money, put you in this movie, got you exposure, and now to this day, he owes his entire career to Tommy. Like when Tommy said in the movie, he's like, "You owe me your life." It's like, and so I can't. But at the same time, to be looking at him and to feel like, this guy Tommy's so incompetent. He's so weird. How the heck is all this going on? Like, how is he responsible for all of my success? I can't imagine what that feels like.
Well, I mean,
because there's got to be a part of him when he says, "You owe me your life," that knows it's true.
yeah.
And I can't imagine that.
Well, even at the very beginning of the Disaster Artist, there was, whenever Greg was trying to make this leap of faith, his mom was like, "Hey, man, it's a 1 in a million shot. Like, you're literally there. It's this crazy, insane chance that you're gonna get discovered and blah blah blah." Right. So I mean, it's all parallel, man.
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau was his 1 in a million shot, which. I mean, I wish I had a Tommy Wiseau in my life. Take me to L.A. and be a famous actor.
Hell yeah! Who was the main character?
Ooh,
Of what?
of the movie,
Disaster
Disaster Artist.
Tommy Wiseau.
You think
For
so?
sure.
No, I don't know. I think
It wasn't Greg.
I think
don't think
Greg.
it's about Greg.
I think it was. Well, I mean, it was his story though.
But it's Tommy's character arc. It's Tommy's journey.
I don't know. We saw everything through Greg's eyes, though.
That's
Like
also
the very
right.
first scene,
It's kind of
we
like
saw
a-
He
him
was the
looking
point of
at
view.
Tommy.
Well,
He
okay,
was
so
the point
then
of view,
who's
but
who,
Tommy Wiseau is the protagonist of the story.
so then who's the main character of The Great Gatsby? Is it?
I don't know, but Samwise Gamgee is the main character of The Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
even
fine. No,
though-
look at Shawshank Redemption. Who's the main
Right.
character? Is it Andy Dufresne or is it Morgan Freeman?
I think it's Andy.
Exactly.
You think it's Morgan?
No, it's. I agree. It's Andy because it's through his retelling.
Morgan
but the
Freeman
point
is
of view-
narrating.
well,
Right.
it's,
So the
it's
point
through
of
his
the
eyes.
point of view is not always the main character. Is what that point is. So even if the point of view is
True.
Greg, the protagonist, it's the only way to tell the story about Tommy Wiseau is through someone else's eyes.
Give me 1 second. Hold on. I want to look up something about the Shawshank.
all right.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, the only way to tell the story is through someone else's eyes because the only way to tell the story of Tommy Wiseau is to see how different how him clash with culture. If it's through his eyes,
I think it would have been cool if that was kind of if they did a narrative style where,
But-
same movie, but then you just have Tommy Wiseau voiceovering.
So
this
Academy
entire movie.
Awards 1995 Best Act nominated Best Actor in the Leading Role for Shawshank Redemption was Morgan Freeman.
but I mean, it's a leading role. You can have two leads. Like they considered both Tommy and Greg to be leads. It said it's a second lead.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can have 2 lead actors.
Well, for sure. The movie.
What's it? No Country for Old Men had 3 main characters.
That is also true, but I think the cop and
What?
Or 2.
No Country for Old Men?
Yeah.
No, it was the sheriff.
Yeah, and the
you don't think
villain.
No,
Anthony Anton
Anton's-
Badordu.
No.
What is his name?
No.
You don't think he's a
No.
main character?
Not at all.
I mean,
he's not.
without
he's
that
not the emotional
okay.
core of the story, but he's a main.
My
character. He's
definition-
a lead actor.
my definition
not a
of
supporting
main
actor.
character.
Yeah, he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year.
Oh, okay.
No, okay,
fine.
hold on. Take supporting actor. My definition of a main character is if you take that character out of the movie, you have a totally different movie.
Well, okay. Well, then any supporting actor in history is
Well, no.
is
So
not
the
a main character.
so
then.
I'm so in
Or
the
is a main
disaster.
character.
Well, so in the Disaster Artist, you have Tommy and you have Greg. Those are main characters. The
So if you took
directors.
Amber out, would it be a completely different movie?
No, not at all. I don't
Okay,
think
no.
that. I
The
don't think that
whole
love
reason-
story. Well, but she's easily replaceable, and it could have been
By a different
for a whole-
actress or completely taken her out of the
Role,
whole script?
Yeah, no, not even a role. You could have taken her out of the script, and he could have had different motivations for leaving. He could have, they could have easily had him get discovered some other way. I don't
But
think the
that's not-
film.
This is based on a true story, though.
Well, yes, okay, I understand
Right,
it's based
but
on a true
I
story.
think the important point here is just that not every time, like, just being the point of view doesn't make you the main character.
Yes,
Right? Being
Sure.
told through someone's eyes doesn't make you the main character.
I still disagree with you that
Because
I
an
think-
unreliable-
On No Country for Old Men?
I disagree.
No,
I
not
think
Have
both
you,
of them are-
have you ever read the book?
No, I haven't read the book because
No,
I'm not
necessarily
freaking super
No Country.
special.
I honestly, I only saw that once. I was just thinking. I immediately thought of a movie. I thought there were 3.
No,
main
the whole
characters.
thing is it's
Right.
about
Right, that was a bad
No
example.
Country for Old Men is
Okay,
about
fine.
an old sheriff.
Breakfast Club. 5 lead actors.
There you go.
Which,
that works.
unless you can tell me one's a main character.
What about Baby Driver?
Bender's the main character.
What about Baby Driver?
What about Baby Driver, dude? Okay, so
What were you gonna say to Blake? You had an
it's
extra
nothing
point.
bad. It's just when I was thinking about it, it's like I totally get your point of like, I don't want to morally support, like encourage
Kevin
other people
Spacey.
to go to the work and see Baby Driver and stuff like that. But to me, I put it in. I think of it like, yeah, it sucks that Kevin Spacey did that, and I don't want to support him at all. But like, I don't want to punish the other 100, 200 people that worked on this movie, worked
Sure.
their asses off. You know, like that was my only point. I wasn't trying to reopen this whole case or change anyone's opinion.
No, we're totally. We're gonna
That's what I
spend
was
another
thinking
half
of
hour
about-
of just
No,
talking.
Yeah,
no,
no, right.
no.
No, but we're moving on. However, I still think I maintain.
All
I
right,
think
Tommy is the main character.
I think Tommy's the main character, right? Wall.
Well, then tell me,
the emotional core.
tell me, Mr. Man who believes Tommy's the main character. The flower shop. Thinking about it and thinking about the different directing styles and the different script writing and stuff like that. And actually, I don't know, Blake, because you follow the Nerd Writer, right?
Oh,
right.
Nerd Rider 1?
Yeah, Nerd Writer 1.
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
so he did a piece on kind of the beat of conversation and dialogue and stuff like that, and how directors do different ways
Right.
of conversation,
Yeah.
and how you'll have some people talking over each other. And then I sent you that movie
Right.
that we with the Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler, which I want to see. Apparently came out like last month or something like that. So,
What
but
movie?
I
I watched that Nerd Rider video where they're talking as brothers and they're talking
exactly
over
at
each
the same
other.
time.
Yeah,
So I think
And it's-
Tommy Wiseau
oh.
was trying to replicate that in some sense of the word. Whenever he was at the
In
flower
that
shop,
scene?
yeah, because they were like, because he was talking and then she responded. Then it was almost
Right.
planned. It wasn't just like
So
Well, no.
yeah,
No,
I
I'm
gotta
sa-
disagree with you.
no. Okay,
I mean
go
you can
ahead.
defend your position.
Go ahead, go
That's
ahead.
reasonable. I think, however, while I have been the one, or not have.
Well,
been the
okay,
only one,
real
but-
quick before you
Right.
say that. How is it that the entire movie it's always this person says something, this person says something, this person says something, it would go back and
Because
forth. But
They
then
never
this one,
talked. They
first
never
off,
talked over each other.
I
though.
think they dubbed over that scene. I think that
Oh, you
scene
think
was
they
one of those
dubbed over?
heavily dubbed over. I
Yeah.
think that scene was a nightmare to try to get Tommy to do it right, just like it was with the
Aw.
other scene that took 67 takes.
Aw.
I think
Why
that
are you
was-
ruining this for me?
I know, dude. I think that was one of those ones though where it was like it clearly did not work. They were like, "Fuck it, everyone go home. Like we'll dub over it and fix it." And that's why it sounds
Well,
so
then why
bad because
didn't
they didn't have time to fit in
Oh, and
everything
they were just
naturally.
trying to
They're just squeezing
fit
it.
the-
At that
okay.
point, dude, at 70% completion, that movie had to have just gone into straight fuck it mode, dude. Like,
Oh, I'm sure.
whoever was
I'm sure.
editing that shit was just like, just make sure it's kind of coherent.
That always surprises me. Just in movies in general and stuff like that, you have the writers and you have the directors and you have the actors, and they're spending all this time and invest all this in recording and stuff like that. But then you have the editors post where it's like if they think it's a shit movie, they still have to edit it and make it look good.
the
And
director is there in the editing floor.
oh, is he? I don't know how that
Usually.
editing
in
process
most cases.
works.
But there is cases, where it's edited. There's been movies before that were saved by editing, and there's been movies before that were ruined by editing.
True.
I can't think of off the top of my head, but I watched a video once that talked about it.
All right. I believe you. So I don't know. I at one point, do you think during the movie that the crew was just like, because did they go through multiple crews, or because in the Disaster Artist he just fired the director or whatever, right?
Right.
From what I heard, they went through like multiple crews.
Right. I had heard in like things talking about this movie that they had gone through separate production crews. That might have just been something that like they didn't have time to fully flesh out like the drama of him firing those guys, hiring a new crew, and then finishing it.
Right.
So it was like, to me, that was what, I mean, they still kind of did that at the end where he fired them and then hired the new guys for that last little scene.
Yeah.
I think that was supposed to be pretty much that. I just don't think they had time to fit into the movie like a full separate storyline of them leaving, getting a new production crew. Unless I think the funniest way to have done it would have been to just have the actors show back up to set and have all the production crew completely different. Be like, whoa, where'd everyone go? And he's just like, oh, we got new ones.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, okay, whatever. Like
there you go.
And another thing about the actual filming of The Room is they had 3 people for every role. Like, so they had like 2 understudies.
Oh wow, really?
Right, because Tommy was talking about it in an interview where he's like, my background is theater, and they always have a backup.
Yeah.
And so literally, like when Greg was on set, there was like 2 other Gregs just somewhere around there on call, just in case like Tommy wanted to fire anyone at some point.
Here you go. Wiseau stated that the film was relatively expensive because many members of the cast and crew had to be replaced, and each cast member had several understudies. According to Sestero, Wiseau made numerous poor decisions during filming that unnecessarily inflated the film's budget, such as building sets for sequences that could have been filmed on location, purchasing unnecessary equipment, and filming identical scenes multiple times using different sets. So, yeah, they went through multiple production members.
A line I thought was really funny. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I really liked how they spent... It was only like the last 20 minutes was the actual Disaster Artist filming and stuff like that, but they spent so much time building the character. But I just thought that was kind of nice.
No, and I thought it was going to be a lot more about the filming of the movie. Like, whenever it was like an hour in, maybe an hour and 10 minutes in, and it hadn't even started yet.
I was just like, okay.
I was like, well, wow, this is really about them,
Yeah.
And I also didn't expect it to end as soon as he finished the post premiere speech. Like I thought it was going to go into more years following the movie when it became cult status, and then it would end with cult status and then people eventually loving it.
That would have been nice.
I thought there was going to be more of an arc with after it came out and did so shitty, but they kind of just did that real quick with him getting sad about it, walking out, and then going up to the front and being like, hope you guys all enjoyed my comedy.
Yeah.
That was all in those like 4 minutes, very symbolic of the long arc that it actually took him to go from nobody understood this to like it was a Tennessee Williams drama to eventually being like, no, it's black comedy. It's black comedy. You go, you have fun, just don't hurt yourself.
So, all right, real quick, this will probably be just kind of a short answer for you guys, but how do you guys feel about at the end of movies, they do like the go to black and then just have the white text about extra stuff, like the after effects and stuff like that?
I like that better than so I watched the movie not too long ago on Netflix called Gerald's Game.
Okay.
Great movie. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
All right.
That's
fair.
Sort of a mysterious character in the movie, and you don't really know what the deal is with this character. And so after the end of the main plot of the whole story, there's like 10, 15 minutes of narration of the main character explaining what the deal was with this guy. Being like, here was this. It turns out he da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it was so pointless. There was no, like, all the action was over. There was no stakes anymore. It was just pure narration to try to be like, here's some answers.
Resolution.
Yes, and it could have been accomplished with a 3-sentence black screen that said, this guy, blah, 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 blah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be... I would prefer that as opposed to trying to find an arc and find entertainment in something that could be summed up and that's not really part of the big main story. You know.
Well, no, and I get that. I feel like there might be a different way to deliver that in doing just actually acting, doing live action acting. And I'm not saying I don't like that, because it's kind of nice, because at the end of Hacksaw Ridge we had the text and stuff like that, and that was kind of this nice resolution. I don't know how I felt though about, and I guess it was just because we saw the room right before it, but they just do the scene to scene comparisons.
I loved that.
I love that. Yeah.
I was waiting. I wanted something like that.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they worked their asses off, because so many people
pinpoint every single nuance.
So many people worship
or
this
attempt
movie.
to.
That's
exactly.
true.
It's like if you're gonna recreate shit from the room, you better fucking do it. You know, you better be right on.
Like there were a couple scenes that I noticed where like James Franco would grab the same part of his body,
Same like that.
on the
and
side.
same with like when she was impersonating drunk Lisa on the couch, she moved her arms the same way. And when he was like the music, sexy dress, like he was moving his head perfectly. You know, and I love that.
I followed his eyes,
Right.
that was important to me. Like if you're gonna
When he
if you're
looked
gonna
up and
recreate,
down.
you need your eyes, because that's whenever I'm
It's a
watching
thought
character.
process.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
It's something that you can't. It's
Natural. Like if the character was doing that, he'd look at the dress.
and that's the hardest part about recreating another scene that someone's already done, especially The Room, where a lot of it, I'm sure, was just somebody trying to make something out of nothing.
Right.
And so
So
whenever
it's very
Mark is
specific.
looking at the ground or whatever, and, you know, kind of looking up or looking back at Lisa, for Dave to watch that scene
Right.
over, and Lord knows how many times he had to watch that, and then somehow go out there onto the set and try to recreate the whole scene in his mind just to do the same thing. I thought that all of those scenes were brilliant.
And same with like with the flower shop scene. It's like, because it was so just half-ass pasted together, it's like that's why it's so hard to recreate it exactly, because the pacing is so off. You know, it's not like natural things, so it's really hard, even with a lot of practice, to get it exactly as weird as it actually is.
True. So one last point before we close this out. The scene whenever they were when it was him and Greg, and they were acting and they were talking about the story about the girl, when Mark, or the character Mark, was talking about the girl who slept with a bunch of guys, and then the guy found out and beat him, and she went to the hospital. And I thought that was really touching. That and again, same with that execution. When he was saying, like, it was like real human emotion or something like that, but he was laughing. So
Right.
I thought that was kind of nice.
To me, that's like just a huge misunderstanding of how humans work.
Exactly. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of nice to point out, just because it was like, again, you know, this is Tommy Wiseau. He has a vision. He has a dream. He's trying to understand what humans are.
Right.
So I don't know. Do you guys have any other input on that? I honestly, I think out of the entire movie, that scene plus a few other scenes were probably my favorite. Just like to really, hey, who is Tommy? Like, who is he as a person?
I thought the cocksock scene was so fucking funny, dude.
That was much
God, he's
more
fucking her
generous
belly
than I
button.
thought it was going to be. I was not staring at his belly button, man. Sorry, mine was elsewhere, boy.
So
No,
you got
I'm
any-
trying to see if I have any fucking notes that I didn't bring up that I wanted to. Okay, so in The Room, on the part where near the end where he's confronting Greg, Mark in the movie, there's some real emotion that I think you see from Tommy there. There's some, when he's screaming at him, he's like, "You betrayed me. The whole world betrayed me." It's like, that is the first time that I genuinely saw not acting from Tommy Wiseau. That I thought so. Yeah. That's someone who's purging real feelings.
Yeah.
You know, and he's created the perfect environment for him to do so. You know, he created
for sure.
The whole
a
world was
moment.
collapsing
Yes,
on
all
him.
of it was coming out of that. Let's see, anything else? Just a little fun fact. In an interview, Greg Sestero said that he thinks Mark is a cop. He thinks Mark's backstory is that he's a cop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't really explain the smoking the reefer, but
Yeah,
I'll
that's
let
true.
that slide. Or the almost attempted murder, or the jean jacket. Let's see. I say as I wore a jean jacket tonight, but I'm
Yeah,
not a
but-
fucking cop.
Yeah, but yours isn't 80s
Yeah.
rip off, you know,
I
through
think-
denim jacket.
Another thing that was interesting was the first time that we see Tommy Wiseau smile in the entire Disaster Artist was when they were in the diner And finally, like, Greg cut loose and was yelling right along with him and making a scene. Dude, they were literally making a scene.
Yeah.
You know, they were creating a scene, and they were being
cool.
fucking assholes. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and that was the first time that we saw Tommy smile, because it was like, yes, like he was seeing something from someone else that he connected with. You know, it wasn't just, why do you want to do a scene with me? You know, are you going to make fun of me? You just think it's funny? Like,
no, this is...
It was just, he's genuinely happy for
Yes.
Mark to, or I guess Greg to bring out his interacting, I guess.
yes. Another thing I thought was really funny, one of my favorite lines was when he was talking about one of the sex scenes. I think it was when Greg was fucking Lisa on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like talking to one of the guys shooting it, and he's like, hey, I want you to make this like Titanic. And he's like, oh, it's like Titanic. Like, he's like, don't worry, this ship is going down, boy.
True.
But yeah, all in all, I don't think I have any notes that I missed.
Right, well,
I just think it was my official grade A+ all the way.
Really, A+.
I definitely an A. I'd at least emotionally charged walking out, A+.
A+, okay.
Looking back in a week, I'll probably settle with A, but I don't think I'll change my opinion lower than that.
All right, Blake?
I'll go with an A.
I have solid A. Solid A for me as well.
Yeah.
So last question to close it off. Why is it called The Room? Any thoughts, opinion? Nope. No phones.
But he says it. He says why.
It's not...
He says
It's
why
a place
called
you
The
can
Room.
go. It's a place you express yourself. You have fun. It's not... It's real humans, you know. It's not a room, you know. It's not any room with any people. It's the room.
Oh.
No,
like
it was
that.
a
What?
according to
What do you
Wise,
mean no? That
according
was
to
perfect.
Wiseau, the title alludes to the potential of a room to be the site
Right.
of both good and bad events.
That's
And I
what
mean
he
that-
just said.
Well, that's...
and I'm saying what
yeah,
Wiseau
right.
said.
He's saying it in English. Well,
I'm
that's
not-
what
in
Wiseau,
English.
that's what Wiseau said on the DVD thing that I saw. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's all the same idea. You know, it's... And there's something interesting in there. I think he's kind of right. Yeah, I know. I feel like you got kind of personally attacked there.
What's up?
I always personally
but
attack
there
Blake.
is-
Do you need a nap?
I do need
There
a nap. I'm
is something
cranky.
there with that, though, with that, like, it's the room. You know, it's like, I don't know if either of you guys know anything about Hamilton, the
Broadway play?
the most fantastic
Hamilton.
piece of any art ever.
Wow.
But there's
Bold.
this...
He can't
Yeah,
even
one of-
go to sleep.
Dude.
Alexander Ambien. What? Go ahead.
One of the big like show-stopping songs in that is called "The Room Where It Happens," and it's like it's about Aaron Burr and like all these politicians are in a room, and he's like, "Dude, no one ever really knows what goes on in there. You know, there's so much crazy shit that happens." Either way, it's not super relevant, but it's a similar thing. It's the room where it happens. Like so many things just happen in a room. You know, like so many things. Loves are lost. People are betrayed, and at the same time, people are like so happily in love.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Once again, I cannot stress enough, there was so many nuggets of brilliant storytelling in this that were just squandered.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if your mountain has a bunch of, like, ores of gold in it if you blow up the whole mountain. Like, you know?
Or if you just walk around to the other side looking for it.
Exactly. You know, so it's
All right.
amazing.
It is. I agree. So, all right.
It's the room.
I appreciate everyone who stayed this far and listened to us rant about this potentially non-existent movie of deep emotional integrity. But anyways, yeah, that's the it, and that is the over, and I appreciate you guys being on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me back on here.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
a blast.
Dude,
I love talking with
You're
you
going to
guys.
be on forever. You'll be regular. Yeah. And lightning round to end it. Would you see this movie if they remastered it, remade it into a legitimately good, like a quote-unquote good movie?
Yes, I'm
Yes.
buying my ticket.
I would see
You
it
buy your ticket?
if they downgraded it to 8-bit. Like they do anything to the room, I'm watching it, man.
All right, same here.
I want them to do it like on Broadway, like a play.
That would be kinda
like a
cool.
legit
That'd
play
be kinda
about
cool.
the room.
I'd watch that.
Hell yeah!
But anyways, thanks guys. Really appreciate it, and have a great night, day, or whenever you listen to this. And that is the end of the episode, everybody. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me know why you didn't. If you enjoyed it, well, tell me. I wanna get feedback. I literally only have like one comment so far. Anyways, just want to give a shout out to our sponsor. All right, Haven Cottage Investments. Okay, Sabrina Parker is a genius. She knows what she's doing. She's got an entire army of people right behind her willing to help her out, and she wants to help you, okay? Contact her, phone, email, questions. If you want to rent, buy, sell, lease, do whatever you want to property, okay, give her a ring, all right? If you live in the state of Texas, this is the perfect opportunity for you, all right? Again, mention the podcast. You get half off the commission rate. It's all good from here, okay? Even if you're not even sure if you want to do something, it doesn't hurt to send her an email. Just ask her a question. See if this is right for you, okay? It does not hurt. She's not going to charge you. There's no hidden fees, no BS, anything like that, okay? Give her a call, give her an email, and she will respond and guide you the right direction, okay? Again, if you live in Texas, half off the commission rate if you mention the podcast. Anything else, just ask her, all right? Be open. It's an open conversation here. Anyways, guys, have a great night, day, or whenever you're listening to the podcast.
I did not hit her. It's not true. I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Lisa, you're tearing me apart. You know what they say. Love is blind. Let's go eat out. Everything is fine. I don't mind. Everything is fine. I don't mind. You're tearing me apart. Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you. This is a beautiful party. You invited all my friends.
Hey everybody, let's eat cake.
I have an announcement to make. I'm fed up with this world. You're just a chicken. How can you do this? You make me sick. Leave your stupid comments in your pocket. You're going to destroy Johnny. He's very sensitive. Leave your stupid comments in your pocket, son of a bitch. I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Lisa, you're tearing me apart. You know what they say. Love is blind. Let's go eat out. Everything is fine. I don't mind. Everything is fine. I don't mind. You're tearing me apart. Hi, doggy. What's the story, Mark? Anyway, how is your sex life? You're tearing me apart. That's like, oh hey Danny, oh hi Mark, oh hey Peter, oh hey guys, everybody, I'm so happy I have you as my friend. Oh hi babe, oh hi Johnny, oh hi good, hi Doggy, everybody, I love you as a human being. To me, yeah. What is my money, baby? This is my money.
Stop ganging up on me, for God's sake.
Why? Let's go home. I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Lisa, you're tearing me apart. You know what they say. Love is blind. Let's go eat out. Everything is fine. I don't mind. Everything is fine. I don't mind. You're tearing me apart. Hi, doggy. Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, you can say that again. You're tearing me apart. Everybody, the expert.
What kind of drug did you take?
You're tearing me apart. Calm down. What's the story, Mark? Yeah, you can say that again. Clean your wish. You're tearing me apart. For my princess. Oh, hi, Mark. You're tearing me apart.
People are very strange these days.